You're watching Local 6, home of ClickOrlando.com. Local 6 News starts now.
First at 5, a wild afternoon of developments in the Boston Marathon bombings. Good evening. I'm Matt Austin. Guard has the night off.
And I'm Lauren Rowe. The FBI was supposed to hold a news conference in just a couple of minutes, but they canceled it because of bomb threats, including this one at the federal courthouse in Boston. There was a sea of reporters lined up outside of the building after hearing reports that a suspect had been arrested. The situation has since cleared up.
Now, earlier this afternoon, there were several reports that a suspect had been arrested, but federal officials and Boston police say that is simply not true. But authorities may have zeroed in on a suspect caught on surveillance video when the first blast went off. Vanita Nair has the latest from Boston.
Well, at this point, no arrests have been made, but there is surveillance video of a possible suspect believed to have planted the bomb. Now, at this point, authorities are saying they are discussing whether to identify him publicly, but there is a very good description of who they're looking for. A law enforcement source has confirmed to CBS News that a suspect in the Boston Marathon bombings has been identified in surveillance video. The suspect is a young man who appears to be dropping a black bag carrying the second bomb that exploded near the finish line. Investigators say the suspect in the video is wearing a gray hoodie and a baseball cap turned backwards. The suspect was on his cell phone when the first bomb went off. He is then seen quickly leaving the scene. According to CBS sources, investigators zeroed in on the suspect using cell phone records that showed who was making calls in the area at that exact time. Investigators in hazardous material suits searched the scene of the bombings today. FBI photos show the remains of an explosive device, including twisted pieces of metal, charred wires, and a battery. One photo shows a half-inch nail and part of a zipper stained with blood. The items are now being analyzed at FBI headquarters in Virginia. Investigators say the devices were pressure cooker bombs packed with shrapnel. The lid of one apparently blew to a nearby roof. The explosions left 3 people dead and more than 170 injured. Doctors performed amputations on many and removed chunks of debris.
Some are metal, some are plastic, some are wood, some are concrete.
President Obama and the First Lady will travel to Boston tomorrow to attend a memorial service for the victims. Now, in addition to the details about what the suspect is wearing, officials are telling us he is 6 foot to 6'2" with a medium build. Reporting in Boston, Vanita Nair, back to you.
We are also learning more about the third person killed in those bombings.
Boston University has confirmed this is her, a Chinese graduate student named Lingzi Liu. She went to the marathon with friends to cheer on runners at the finish line. Since the attack happened on tax day, anyone who lives in Suffolk County, Massachusetts, where Boston is, will have an additional 3 months to file their taxes without late filing penalties. The IRS says anyone outside of that county that's affected by the bombings can call them to request an extension as well. We're going to continue to follow the developments on the Boston Marathon bombings. You can always get updates on ClickOrlando.com, and you can download our ClickOrlando.com mobile app for free updates. And we are following some breaking news out of Washington tonight. We have just learned the Senate has rejected a bipartisan effort to expand federal background checks to private gun buyers. The proposal would have required background checks for all transactions at gun shows and online. Currently, background checks are required only for sales that are handled by licensed gun dealers. The White House just announced that the president will hold a news conference on that vote coming up at 5:30 tonight. We will bring you that live on Local 6 and on ClickOrlando.com.
We're also following breaking news out of Orange County right now. We're getting a look at what may have been the last moments of a man's life before deputies found his body in a stolen car that was parked in a vacant home, then set on fire. Investigators say this guy right here, 65-year-old Frank Wright, left for a fishing trip but never came back home. Local 6's Mike DeForest is live at a McDonald's in Ocoee, where the fisherman was last seen alive. Now, Mike, why are investigators releasing these new surveillance photos now?
Well, Matt, they're simply hoping that someone, maybe a customer of this McDonald's who was grabbing an Egg McMuffin or something Wednesday morning, might have seen Frank Wright leave here. These surveillance photos that were captured inside this McDonald's off of Cowie-Apopka Road at 7:30 Wednesday morning are the last known images of Frank Wright, either just before arriving at this McDonald's or more than likely a little bit after leaving here. Wright dropped some fish off that he had caught at a home in Cowie, not too far from here. Investigators say there's evidence that Wright made it to that home, but they don't know what happened to him after that. The following morning, around the same time detectives were locating Wright's truck and fishing boat near Winter Park, firefighters were responding to this vacant home in Pine Hills that had been set on fire. Inside the garage of that vacant home, investigators found a burned-out, stolen car, and inside that stolen car, they discovered the body of the missing fisherman. Now, detectives hope anyone who may have seen Frank Wright that morning, Wednesday morning up until Thursday morning, will call authorities immediately. Matt?
So, Mike, what are investigators thinking here? Do they think Wright was murdered by someone he knew, or do they think this was just some sort of random attack?
They just don't know at this point, and that's why they're trying to find anybody who may have seen him here at this McDonald's.
All right, Mike DeForest, thank you. We are also following a developing story out of Washington, D.C., where 2 letters possibly containing poison were sent to President Obama and a Mississippi senator.
Well, those letters were both postmarked Memphis, Tennessee, and they dated on April 8th. The FBI says both letters tested positive for ricin. Now, that's a natural poison. An amount as small as a couple of grains of salt can kill a person. And we have intercepted they were intercepted in off-site mail facilities. Both letters were signed, quote, "I am KC, and I approve this message." Now, naturally, there's concern for our local representatives and senators, and Local 6's Louis Bolden has been reaching out to our elected officials all day. He's live downtown outside of Senator Bill Nelson's office. So, any of our local representatives been targeted by these suspicious letters?
Yes, one of them has received a suspicious letter, Lauren, but it hasn't been in the past couple of days. We reached out to all of our U.S. representatives and found that this email is circulating, advising them to be on the lookout. With letters sent to the president and a U.S. senator testing positive for ricin and other suspicious letters being reported around the country, the local staffs of U.S. congressmen and women are taking a close look at the mail that comes into their offices.
It doesn't put us on edge, but it just keeps us always to stay alert because you just never can tell.
Chester Glover is a district congressional caseworker with U.S. Representative Corinne Brown. He says they received an email yesterday from the House Sergeant-at-Arms advising them to be on the lookout for suspicious packages. Glover says just last week they received a package that fit that description.
And when we shook it, it rattled, like it had something in it. And when we opened it up, we found out it had rice in it.
That's R-I-C-E. They determined the package was harmless and it was discarded. But they are always on the lookout for items with no return address or items sealed with tape or with misspelled words. Also items that may have an unknown powder or suspicious substance or letters with excessive postage.
We're always just very careful of opening up things.
Now, Senator Bill Nelson just released a statement about this issue a while ago, saying thankfully the safeguards that authorities put in place after 9/11 have helped to protect our people. Lauren?
Well, we're really glad about that. Keep us updated. Thank you, Louis.
Well, guns could soon be coming into Florida schools. That's because a bill allowing designated and trained employees to carry them has cleared a Florida House committee. Supporters say the bill gives schools a fighting chance if attacked. Opponents say it's the wrong response to the Newtown, Connecticut shooting. That bill now heads to the House floor. Well, the internet, we know it's a big part of our daily lives. I know I'm constantly checking those new updates on Facebook and news and everything else on my phone.
And on clickorlando.com.
Especially.
Yes, but what if you had to live without the internet? Oh, say it isn't so. Coming up, what people say they'd rather live without. You won't believe it. And if you regularly take money out of the ATMs, you're going to want to listen to this in 6 minutes, why you may want to change where you get your cash from in the future. Tom.
Another warm day in Central Florida. Today we hit 85 for the daytime high at OIA. Coming up, I'll take you hour by hour through tomorrow. The heat keeps coming and the rain is coming back too. I'll explain in minutes.
And Carnival's planning big changes to its cruise ships. Next, what it's planning to do with millions of dollars in updates and why. Good morning, I'm Matt Austin.
And I'm Bridget Ellison. Thank you for waking up with us.
It's the way you say good morning.
Meteorologist Troy Bridges is here with what you can expect for the day ahead.
Take you hour by hour so you can plan your day.
We're going to check in right now with Jessica Sanchez, who has an important traffic alert.
State Road 19 is closed because of those brush fires. It's the way you say good morning.
It's on the road. Yeah.
The Local 6 Morning News. A good morning starts here.
Taking a look at those roads out there at 5 o'clock right now. You can see traffic is pretty heavy in some spots out here on I-4. It's 10 minutes after 5, though. That's what happens. You can even see the right side of your screen. Things are heavy heading into downtown as well, so you're going to want to be mindful of that if you do plan on heading out to dinner or something this evening. Safety is the #1 priority. That's the word from the head of the Carnival Cruise Line, who announced today he's spending hundreds of millions of dollars to improve their ships. Improvements they hope will help them avoid scenes like this. That, you remember, is the Triumph stranded in the Gulf back in February after an engine room fire. It left passengers stuck at sea for days. And you remember we told you about those awful conditions too. Local 6's Kristen Giannis is in Port Canaveral with more on the changes Carnival is making.
We were here last month as Carnival Dream passengers were bussed in because their ship was stuck in St. Martin. Today, the cruise line announced major upgrades on all their ships to prevent any more high-profile problems.
There's always things you can learn from any incident. And certainly there are things that we are going to learn from, and we have learned.
One more emergency generator will be added to each of the cruise line's 24 ships, according to Carnival, which announced several fixes that will cost the company more than $300 million.
We will have increased capacity for elevators. Certainly all of the toilets will have increased capacity for providing hot meals, also cold storage.
The money will also go to fire prevention, detection and suppression systems on board, upgrades for the water mist systems that will produce larger water droplets.
And that's a good way to, spend the money and everything like that, but I feel the same way about Carnival. I'm always going to travel Carnival.
A Carnival spokesperson tells me all the work will be done while the ships are in service. Reporting in Port Canaveral, Kristen Giannis, Local 6.
Now, Carnival has been offering some much cheaper prices lately, hoping to lure customers in after all the recent trouble. Last week, there were prices advertised for $38 a night. And that cruise, by the way, was out of Port Canaveral to the Bahamas. I looked online. Motel 6 is $39.99, so it's actually cheaper than Motel 6.
Are you going to go?
No. Not a chance.
Come on, $38 a night, how bad could it be? Even if you had to pitch a tent outside because there's no AC or working plumbing? $38 a night, you're on the ocean.
I think I'll just risk it and stay at home. I don't think so.
All right. All right, we're following some breaking news out of Virginia tonight, where a company hired by NASA to make supply runs to the International Space Station has just scrubbed a test rocket launch. The launch was supposed to see whether a payload could reach orbit and safely separate from the rocket, but that launch was canceled. The company Orbital Sciences Corporation did not say why they scrubbed the launch, but we'll keep you posted on what happens next for them. Well, it's getting more expensive to use an ATM that is outside of your bank's network. According to a report by the U.S. Government Accountability Office, fees that banks and credit unions charge non-customers have soared 20% from 2007 to 2012. Officials say fees range from 45 cents to as high as $5. I mean, are you going to take out money for $5?
That's a lot of money.
The fees banks charge their own customers for going out of network has not changed too much.
It's crazy. Another consumer alert to tell you about here. A tricycle's being recalled because it can actually make your child crash. I don't know about your kids, but mine don't need any help with that. This is a 2012 Huffy 20-inch slider tricycle. Huffy says the handlebar can actually loosen while you're riding it, causing the child to lose control, potentially crash there. They were sold nationwide at Toys R Us in January and February for about $100. So if you have one, you can call Huffy about how to get a refund. We posted all the details on our website. Head to clickorlando.com. Click on Scene on 6 Wednesday's stories. Well, which would you rather lose, your home internet connection or your heat and water? if you chose internet, you're actually far from alone. According to a study of 1,000 people done by InfoSecurity Europe in London, 38% say their stress levels would be higher if they were unable to use the internet than if their utilities or television were cut off.
Did you say water too?
Yes, that's showers. No showering. You would rather check your Facebook.
Or a toilet or washing dishes.
Makes no sense to me. 27% say they couldn't live without the internet, which is up from 17% from last year. Which this is just crazy to me. I did some research too. Actually, a second survey says when heavy internet users are forced to go offline, they actually have withdrawal symptoms, such as a drug addict would have.
Now, would you be stressed? The shakes. I don't know if I'd have the shakes, but there might be a headache or two. Yeah. We asked you on Facebook, what do you think about this? Dwayne says, cannot live without it. Before there was internet, I was a TV junkie. But since the World Wide Web came along, I no longer turn the thing on.
We hate to hear that.
Well, Dwayne,
obviously, Dwayne,
clearly you have to be watching us to hear what you said about this. Laura writes, I would gladly sacrifice internet for water, heater, air. People are nuts.
Okay. Lisa says, I work from home. She has a pretty good reason here. I have a small business. Both rely heavily on internet. Yes, I panic if it goes out. I don't get paid. I still don't. I mean, you can't give up a shower, though. That would stress me out.
No.
You know, it's not smell-o-vision either. You can join the conversation of the day anytime you want. Head to facebook.com/local6.
What do you think? You're pretty connected.
I am pretty connected. We're all wired in, phone, house, laptops, pads, everything. But honestly, those people aren't answering, honestly.
You know, there's no way.
Yeah, if you want to try do the experiment and take away hot water for a while and see how happy.
A week after a hurricane. If you've been through that.
Exactly. We've all been through that.
No
Most of us here.
Days? Those are some.
If we've been here in 2004, you've been a week without that.
Yeah, it wasn't fun. Hey, this was fun though. What a day, huh? Gorgeous.
It was very pretty. Again, today.
Yeah, beautiful.
Oh, look how pretty that is.
Our friend Kevin shot this in Lockhart. Thank you, Kevin. I love it. See it, snap it, send it to me. I Shot News, clickorlando.com. I would love to see what you're seeing in Central Florida. And that was a beautiful scene today from Kevin. Thank you, buddy. Radar tonight. Okay, no echoes just yet. We are going to change that. In the coming 72 hours, we will start to track some more rain. But tonight, it is primo. It's almost perfect. We've had a good run today. Daytime high of 85 in Orlando. Warmer in Leesburg, 87 did it, 84 all the way up in the Villages, Ocala, and 83 as far north as Gainesville. Along the coast tonight, you hit 81 degrees for the high in Daytona Beach, 82 in New Smyrna. 82 also was the daytime high today in Melbourne. Right now, temperatures have dropped off the mark just a smidge. We're holding in at 82 degrees in Orlando. That's plenty warm for this hour. That's actually where we ought to be for the daytime high, about 81 to 82 degrees, but today we crushed that. 85 currently in Leesburg, still pretty warm there too. Now, satellite and radar together here shows you what's happening. You see an increase in the cloud cover during the day today, and we've got a front trying to make its way on in. But as far as huge, wash you away rain problems in the next 24 hours, they're just not there. Here's tomorrow morning at 8:30 in the morning. If you saw fog this morning, it was at my house. It was around. Shallow fog, not enough to shut down the traffic, but just enough fog to bug you a little. That's what we're going back to tomorrow morning. Patchy fog first thing. By noon tomorrow, it's all gone. And by the late day tomorrow night, looks like some sea breeze action getting together there, popping some showers west of the viewing area. Friday, rain chances begin to ramp it up just a little bit more. Now for tonight, overnight lows are in the 60s everywhere. 66 in Palm Coast, 66 in the Villages, 65 in Ocala, and 65 will round it out in Leesburg. The warm spot overnight will be Melbourne. You guys bottom out at 69 degrees. The official forecast in Orlando. I'm calling the low tonight 66. Winds are from the east-northeast 5 to 10, maybe 15 miles per hour early. Then we go partly cloudy with patchy fog setting up late. Here's tomorrow. Starting out in the morning, trying to burn off that fog. The temperature reading at 8 a.m. is 68. By noon, back to 81 degrees, and the daytime high tomorrow up to about 86. A chance of an isolated shower, especially north and west of Orlando. The next 3 days, 86 tomorrow, a slight chance of rain. But look at these rain chances rampant right on up to 60% by Saturday. Come Sunday, the daytime high is 83 degrees. And still a good shot at rain for the weekend on Sunday as well. Not where I would have picked to put the rain, but
yeah,
what you gonna do?
I know.
You know, you can't cherry pick it.
Nope.
Got to take what you can get.
Dry season, I take them when I get them.
Absolutely.
All right.
See you at
Thank you,
6.
Tom.
Bye.
Well, hey, when you encounter a major challenge, do you imagine the best or do you worry about the worst? Two-time Olympic gold medalist Dr. Dot Richardson, considered by many to be the greatest softball player of all time, says how you answer that question is critically important to the outcome.
One thing I've heard a lot in my life is, no, you can't do that. You're too small, you're not fast enough, you're the wrong gender. Are you kidding me? You name it and I've heard it. But I learned long ago to listen to one voice above all others, my own.
Dr. Dot Richardson believes personal success is defined by the obstacles we face and our courage to overcome them.
Find out who you are, who you want to be, and what really makes you tick. And for me, the passion of life comes just from helping each other and seizing every moment you have. Those opportunities to be the best you can be.
Now, Dr. Dot Richardson shares her tips for making the best of any situation out there, joins dozens of other stories that offer hope, inspiration, and possibility Friday at 8 p.m. on Surviving and Thriving. There's so much stuff out there that we worry about, being late for work, messing something up. These folks have stuff that you can worry about, and they made it through it just fine.
No, it's always an inspiration. It makes you want to be a better person every time you watch that show.
Yeah, that it does.
At least that's what I find.
I'm excited to see it. Well, as you know, it is FCAT time all week, which may not be the most exciting news for your kids.
But one local elementary school is finding a way to make it fun. We'll show you how coming up next. And all new at 6 o'clock tonight, a man walks into a local store and robs a clerk at knife point.
Yeah, and we just got the dramatic surveillance video in the newsroom, and we're working on that story new at 6. Also at 6.
I'm Julie Broughton at the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival. Coming up all new at 6, I'll show you what's new for the little ones.
So many fun things. You're watching Local 6 News covering all of Central Florida. We'll be right back.
Next, OMG Insider, Toni Braxton, why she may never sing again on stage.
I can't do it. I can't explain it.
And Khloe Kardashian on her real dad.
At first, it was really hurtful.
Next, OMG Insider.
Today at 5:30, followed by Local 6 News at 6. Here is tonight's lineup on Local 6, sponsored by Powerball.
At 8, Survivor. At 9, Criminal Minds. Elementary at 10, followed by Local 6 News at 11.
Go to clickorlando.com, download Connect TV, and watch with friends.
Well, we have an excellent lineup for you tonight right here on Local 6. At 8, it's Survivor, then Criminal Minds. At 10, Golden Boy, and then join us right back here for the Local 6 News at 11. And speaking of, you know, walk into a grocery store, you can't miss it. It's the latest health food craze hitting store shelves, and now dozens of products, all the way from toothpaste to toys, are being made gluten-free.
Because children will be children, and what's in their hands will end up in their mouths.
That's the truth. Is it healthy or is it all hype? Find out whether this is a trend you'll want to follow tonight, coming up at 11 right here on Local 6. Well, parents, as you know, FCATs begin this week, and although it can be a stressful time for students,
one elementary school is having a little bit of fun with it. Take a look.
Good morning, you feel right. Get ready to recite. Your knowledge is so
nice.
Oh, yeah.
Moves.
Whoa, it's FCAT time. That's the kids at Keith Elementary School in Winter Springs. They look like they're having a great time, and that was the point. The school says they made the video to celebrate studying for the FCAT.
It's very smart.
It's always a good time.
Yeah, I have a second grader. They took a lot of time to do this. I have a second grader. She's already nervous about taking it next year. So I think it's good that they do something to loosen these kids up.
I know. I have a first grader. She's always already talking about it, too. So,
yeah.
Well, I think that's really exciting that they try to make him excited about it.
Yeah, I do. They need to, because it's a lot of work for those kids. Well, we thank you so much for joining us. We will be right back here at 6 with much more local news.
Remember, you can get the latest in between newscasts on clickorlando.com. See you at 6.